Hi, my name's Kelly, the Texas land agent. And I wanted to spend a little time going over the seller financing escrow timeline for your land transaction when you're using seller financing here in Texas. Every seller behaves a little bit differently, but the way that they should behave, if they do at least 5 transactions a year, is to use the disclosures and things that are federally mandated. So most of the transactions that I do will go through Lone Star Land Sales, and 100% of the time we're going to use those same things. So couple of laws you may want to do a little deep dive into the research. If you look into the Truth in Lending Act, the TILA, also known as Regulation Z, that was passed in 1968, and basically just a federal law that kind of creates honesty and clarity. It makes the lenders have to disclose all the information, which is obviously a huge benefit to you that they can't tell you one thing and do another. So that governs a lot of what we do. And then what we call RESPA, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, that'll also come into play a little bit with sort of the timelines and why you have to have the disclosures that you do. But you're welcome to dig into any of those that you want to. There's a lot of boring legal mumbo jumbo, but at the end of the day, what it means is that as a consumer, you're protected against someone taking advantage of you, at least in some ways, right? So when you end up deciding on the purchase property that you want, you've gone out, you've looked at it, and we've driven it and gotten a chance to really explore it. So then the next step is obviously to get an offer accepted by the seller. And the way to easily do that, I'll work with you, I'll work with your agent if you have one, and we'll get that accepted. That day, the contract has been executed. The timelines start for all of this. So when the seller signed it and you've signed it, now we're moving into those disclosure periods. So within 3 days after you've signed the original paperwork, you're going to get a DocuSign your email for every single signer on the paperwork. And that's going to have a disclosure from Green Capital. And Green Capital is going to basically summarize everything that I put in my Green Capital disclosure to begin with when you submitted your offer. And it'll just have the financing amounts, the timelines, the interest rate, payment, all that kind of thing. And so to keep the transaction progressing, all you have to do is just sign that. Everybody will sign it on DocuSign. Once that's done, the timeline starts again because we've got about another week before you get your second round of disclosures. And that second round of disclosures, there'll be a little bit more information on there, but it's ultimately going to be the same thing. The concept that the Truth in Lending Act was trying to do is just make sure that you had a minute to see it, you had a minute to look at it again before closing to make sure, if you missed something or something has changed, that you can take action at that point prior to closing. So if for some reason in those disclosures something doesn't add up, or you believe it was different than what you'd originally seen, or if it was distinctly different, let me know immediately. So my job, obviously, at that point is going to step in and help you figure out what's going on and get it straightened out before closing. So once those second round of disclosures are sent via DocuSign, again, every single person has to sign it. Once they've all signed it, then we're done. As far as the disclosure period, we do have a little bit of a cooling off period, waiting period before we can go ahead and do the closing. But that's just a few days. So at that point, I'll usually get with you and give you a couple of options for closing. Typically, we do those one of two ways. If you haven't chosen to close at a title company, which obviously if you did, we would then close the title company and schedule with them. If you have chosen not to and just close with the office, then we can do either downtown San Marcos, meeting everybody there, and every signer will have to come physically because the closing docs have to be notarized. And then if we decide not to do that because it's in San Marcos, maybe, I still land all over the state. So if you're somewhere far away, I can also bring the documents to you and we can meet at a notary somewhere locally, a bank, insurance company, UPS store, whatever. And we can just get everyone to meet there, sign it, and then we're good to go. So what'll happen is I'll give you a call prior to that. We'll try to schedule it. I'll let you know the total of the cashier's check that you need to bring to closing to finalize it. And we're days away from you taking ownership of your new property. So exciting times. I'm glad to help. And as always, but please reach out with any questions you have throughout the process or before the process if you want to know kind of the ins and outs before we get into it. Happy to help any way that I can. And then even after the process, if you have some questions on what exactly went down, never lose my number, never hesitate to call, and I'm glad to help. Hope that answers some questions, and look forward to helping you guys through your process of land buying. Thanks. Have a good one.